Hello students, this is Anup Das from WORLD Public School Kalyani and I welcome you all to this English lesson. Today we are going to analyze a poem from the textbook Beehive for class 9. The name of the poem is The Road Not Taken. It is composed by Robert Frost. Well, the topics which we'll cover here include information about the poet, then we'll talk about the background of this poem, and it will also follow the detailed analysis of this entire poem. So first of all, about the poet. He is Robert Frost. His full name is Robert Lee Frost. He was an American poet. He was born in the year 1874 in San Francisco, USA and died in the year 1963 in Boston, USA. He was one of the most celebrated and respected American poets of 20th century. He got 4 Pulitzer Prizes for his poetry. But one thing, before his works were published in America, they got fame and were published in England, and subsequently the works were published in America as well. His noted works include Fire and Ice, Mending World, Birches, etc. Now let us talk about the background of this poem. Robert Frost composed and dedicated this poem to one of his friends, Edward Thomas. He was an English Welsh poet. Whenever he used to go out working with Robert Frost, he would always ponder and contemplate over what would have happened if he had chosen a different path, a different way. So Robert Frost composed this poem to be somewhat light-hearted. It is quite ironic that people take it very seriously. Ever since its publication in 1916, this poem has gained widespread popularity. Now let us talk about the title of this poem, The Road Not Taken. It is quite symbolic. The road here represents our life. The poet says about the feelings that we have, about the ways, the paths which we do not choose, which we do not follow. Here you can see there's a man standing in front of 2 ways, 2 paths. He can either take left or right. Obviously, he cannot choose to walk through or to go along both the roads or both the paths. This is where the poet shares his own experience. And we can also correlate this with our own lives. In our lives as well, we get various options or alternatives where we have to choose any one and we have to negate the other options. But how do we decide to choose any one option? And do we feel regretful about not choosing the other options in future? Yes, this is quite crucial, and the poet here shares a very important message, and this is quite significant in our lives as well. We have to take all the decisions very wisely after thinking over and over again, because we cannot take a wrong decision and we cannot regret. We do not have the privilege of going back to the previous option and choosing it once again. While choosing or while determining which career option we will choose, here as well we have to think very wisely. We can either choose to be a doctor or an artist or a journalist or a lawyer, and we will, after choosing these streams, we will study further and further. But do we get the option, do we get the opportunity of choosing a different career option or altering our career path? The straight away answer is no. Well, let us now go through the poem. The first stanza. The 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. In the first stanza, the poet talks about a time when he arrived at a wood and he has 2 choices in front of him, and he has to choose any one to continue on his journey. Being a single or lone traveler, he is thinking and he is feeling sorry that he cannot travel through both the roads or both the paths. Thus, he is standing there for a long time contemplating over which path he should choose. Then he started examining the first path, and as far as his vision could reach, he saw, but that was prevented by the heavy undergrowth. The dense growth of bushes, plants and other sorts of shrubs. Let us go through the second stanza. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. Now, after inspecting the first path, the poet chose the second path, because both of them were quite agreeable or quite suitable to him, and both were same or equally suitable to him. And here he says that the second path is somewhat better for him. Why? Because it was grassy and at the same time it was untraveled by anybody. But in the very following lines, he again says that both paths are equally worn. This is a contrast to the previous few lines. Now let us go through the third stanza. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should come back ever. Further, he adds that when he chooses the second path, that morning he finds out and he figures out that that path was not traveled by anybody. Nobody has traveled through that path when he came there. On the other hand, he says that both the paths, as he could realize, both the paths were covered with leaves. But again, I kept the first for another day. Here he says that after walking through certain distance, he feels that the first option that he did not choose, he has kept it for another day. He will walk through or go along that path on some other day. But he is at the same time doubtful whether he would actually be able to, whether he would ever be able to do so. Because once he has chosen one path, he has to choose some other two or other three. One path will lead to another path, that path will lead to another one. So he can never go back to the previous juncture. Let us read the fourth stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. In the final stanza, the poet says that he feels sorry. He feels disappointed that he has taken a decision which turned out to be a wrong decision. And in the years to come, he would talk about these wrong decisions with others. He would tell this to other people as well. But one thing is for sure, that this particular decision, the second choice, the second path that he has chose, it will definitely make a significant impact on his life. That is the reason he says that has made all the difference. And perhaps if he had chosen the first path, it wouldn't have created such effect in his life. Well, if we talk about the structure of this poem, it is following iambic meter throughout the poem. And talking about the rhyming scheme, then it is following A-B, A-A-B rhyming scheme. See, the first line is rhyming with the third and fourth line, and the second line is rhyming with the fifth line. See, wood is rhyming with stood and could, and both is rhyming with undergrowth. So the rhyming scheme again is A-B, A-A-B. Well, this brings us to the end of this lesson. Until the next lesson, keep practicing, keep learning. Thank you.